Hello, Patriots! Yes, it's a little early for the raw feed. Truth be told, I was about to go live last night, put an entire show together, and my headache came back. I woke up yesterday with a horrible headache, and it was debilitating. But now here we are. We're going to give you the news that we wanted to give you last night, and we're going to give you the latest news as it's happening right now. So welcome to the Raw Feed. We're the show that brings you the unvarnished truth in a world that's drowning in lies. Tonight, or today, we've got a lineup that'll make your head spin and your blood boil. We're diving into 4 explosive stories that the mainstream media does not want you to hear. First, is the pandemic 2.0 upon us? West Nile virus is apparently spreading, and suddenly we're hearing whispers of lockdowns and curfews. Sound familiar? And just in time for our 2024 election. Then a political earthquake rocking Washington, D.C., Tulsi Gabbard endorsing Donald Trump, RFK Jr. obviously already on his team. So what does this mean for the 2024 election? We will break it down. Next, the mask comes off. Big tech as Zuckerberg admits to censorship and Telegram's CEO is arrested. Is the death of free speech happening right now? And finally, California's latest insanity, $150,000 home loans for illegal immigrants. Your tax dollars at work, folks. But remember, this is not just any news show. It's a conversation, a dialogue between us and you and the American people. So as we speak, millions across the world are tuning in on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And here's the best part. You are not just watching, you are participating. Throughout the show, we'll be interacting with you in the live chat. Your thoughts, your reactions, your insights, they're all part of this broadcast. This is citizen journalism at its finest, folks. Now, here's where you come in. The powers that be don't want this information getting out. They will do everything they can to suppress it. So I need you to do something right now. Take out your phone, open your messaging app, and send the link to this program to everybody you know. That's why we're going old school to bypass the algorithm. Let's show big tech that they can't silence the truth. And remember, we're not just on YouTube. Follow us on Rumble and X to make sure you never miss a beat. Because trust me, with what we're about to discuss tonight, you can't afford to be in the dark. So are you ready? Let's dive in. And welcome everyone to the show. All right, let's see who we have. Dave and Danny and Teresa. We've got Lotta from Sweden chiming in. Cynthia is here. So as something we always do here on the program, type in the city, state, or country that you're watching from, the device you're watching from, so everybody has an idea of the scope of the program. It helps not just me, but everybody in the chat know just how broad the broadcast is reaching. So we've got Rush Third is here. Joe Carroll is here. Casey is here. Mike Taylor News in the house. Cynthia, Teresa, Danny, Mia, Ellen, Jennifer, Patricia, Susudio, Tire One, Nick, and Bird. What was that? Birdinums from Britain. Watching from Texas, James is. Kathy's here. She's also in Texas. Gavin's in the house. What's up, Gavin? Good to see you here. Steve's in the house from Canada. Oh, you guys Miss is here Steve is here from Canada. Also, Miss E from Canada. You guys got it rough up there. We got Patty from Pennsylvania. We got John from Vermont. June from Tennessee. And Landon from Lakeland, Florida. Patricia, Texas is in the house. Lisa from Oregon. Yeah, you guys got a mess going on up there. And Texas Patriot, Fort Worth. Trudy in Kansas on her cell phone. Teresa from Nashville. Michelle from Canada. My goodness. Beatrix from the armpit of Pennsylvania. Sue's from Atlanta. Deborah from Mobile, Alabama. Justin from Minnesota on his phone. And we have Alvin. He's chiming in from Singapore. Nice. So we got a lot of news to get into. We're going to get the latest on what's happening across the world. and get the latest news from the feed a little bit later in the show. But first, we want to get into our first topic of the night or of the day. It all blends together for me sometimes because I don't see any sunshine. I'm like a vampire. All right, let's get into it. Folks, remember when they said 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Well, hold on to your voter registration cards because history might be repeating itself, and the timing couldn't be more suspicious with the election just around the corner. Suddenly, West Nile virus is spreading across 33 states. Curfews, closures, and government spraying are back on the menu. Is this Pandemic 2.0 or a calculated attempt to disrupt the election? Stay tuned as we uncover the truth that they don't want you to know. Now, check this out. Are you listening? As the West Nile virus spreads and election uncertainty looms, your financial security is more important than ever. Gold prices have surpassed $2,400 an ounce in 2024, reflecting a weakening U.S. dollar. With our national debt exceeding $36 trillion, central banks are buying gold to protect their reserves. Shouldn't you do the same? Protect your wealth with Global Gold Investments, America's leading conservative precious metals dealer. Call 888, that's the number on the screen, 888-700-4148 today for a free portfolio analysis and the 2024 Ensure Your Money Wealth Preservation Guide. Make sure you mention Next News for VIP treatment. Don't wait until after the election. Secure your financial future now. Okay, so let's get right into it. So, this just in, the World Health Organization seeking $135 million in funding. This is to fight the monkeypox, which has now been called by Pope Francis as a global health emergency. That's right. The Pope is now the arbiter of medical truth around the world. He's calling it a global health emergency. This from WLT Report. Let's take a closer look at what they're having to say here. Apparently, the Pope has declared a deadly outbreak of mpox a global health emergency as the first batch of vaccines are set to arrive in Africa. World Health Organization also declared the outbreak of a new strain of global health emergency earlier this month as African countries such as Democratic Republic of Congo saw cases soar. Pope Francis mentioned monkeypox during his weekly Sunday prayers. How nice of him. Speaking in St. Peter's Square, the pontiff said, "I pray for all the infected people, in particular the population of Democratic Republic of Congo. So affected, I express my closeness to the local churches most touched by the disease." Monkeypox is a potentially deadly virus that causes flu-like symptoms followed by painful pus-filled lesions across the body. Now, of course, we should always pray for everybody who's sick and hope that the Lord can heal them. We never want to see anyone get sick, but it's kind of weird that the Pope would come out and make these declarations. Now, we've also got news. Let's take a look at this clip here from Darren McBreen.
It's
basically laying it all out.
The emergency committee met and advised me that, in its view, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. I have accepted that advice. The detection and rapid spread of a new clade of mpox in eastern DRC, its detection in neighboring countries that had not previously reported mpox, and the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying. In addition to other outbreaks of other clades of mpox in other parts of Africa, it's clear that a coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks and save lives.
We've seen this movie before, haven't we? Just in time. Just in time for the election. And if you didn't know, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the world-renowned expert, actually science incarnate. If you didn't know, Dr. Anthony Fauci is science. So we should worship at his feet and light candles and offer up prayers and incense to this savior of the world, Dr. Anthony Fauci. But apparently, His Holiness was hospitalized this week with severe case of West Nile virus. The disease is so rare in the U.S. that we only see 1,000 to 2,000 confirmed cases yearly. Matt Wallace says this is not a coincidence. I've been sounding the alarm for months that they are working on this new strain of West Nile virus. Now, the West Nile virus reported in 33 states across the U.S., and that number 33 makes another appearance. In response, outdoor public areas have been shut down and voluntary curfews are in place. And apparently the government is planning to spray cities to address the situation. Let's
even
hear what
closing
they have to say.
Areas and issuing Sade. There have been several reported cases of West Nile virus here in New York City so far. Authorities will be out spraying the city tonight and tomorrow. With the mosquito population growing, health officials are warning to remain vigilant. This morning, several towns across the Northeast on alert, some even closing outdoor public areas and issuing voluntary curfews to prevent the spread of potentially dangerous mosquito-borne illnesses. The country's well-known infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, hospitalized after contracting West Nile virus. The 83-year-old now home and expected to make a full recovery. The CDC saying West Nile has been detected in more than 30 states. Experts warning rising temperatures and rainfall are boosting the mosquito population, leading to an increased risk for mosquito-borne infections.
Given the fact that the climate is getting warmer, more and more mosquitoes are outside. So we have to make sure that we're mindful of that.
Right now in
It's because the climate's getting warmer.
Massachusetts, public health officials declaring 8 communities, including Boston, at high risk for West Nile.
I do have some bug spray if I do notice, and then I'll just zip myself.
Plymouth closing parks and fields at night through September. And important to remember, West Nile cannot be spread person to person, and doctors say many who contract this illness may not ever even show symptoms, and severe cases are very rare but can't be complacent. Sade, there have been several.
Yeah, so here we go. Some more fear-mongering from the media. Massachusetts, here we go again. Oxford Board of Health officials to implement 6 p.m. curfews to prevent the spread of EEE. They're doing what needs to be done to keep people safe. The curfew is to last till the end of September. Let's see what this curfew is all about.
So some concern now in a part of Massachusetts after a man tested positive for EEE last week. This is the state's first human case in 4 years.
A small cluster of communities right on the Rhode Island state line is at critical risk for the disease. They're Oxford, Douglas, Sutton, and Webster, seen here on the Pinpoint News Tracker.
And now one of those communities is taking action to try to keep people safe, but not everybody is on board with the plan. Sophia Szabo here now with the latest developments.
Kate and Patrick, last night at a Board of Health meeting, officials in Oxford approved a recommendation to issue a 6 p.m. curfew to prevent the spread of EEE. But the people at that meeting were not happy with this decision.
Please don't do this to our kids.
800 people signed a petition.
Officials say they aren't banning people from going outside, but instead doing what needs to be done to keep people safe. They suggest the 6 p.m.
Doing what needs to be done. Mask up, backs up.
Curfew lasts until the end of September, then moves to 5 p.m. on October 1st. People at this meeting say this will hurt after-school activities, including sports.
Wow. We have probably well over 150 people that are here to stand up for their kids, to make the parents, have their own decision, makes their decisions.
Last week, a man in his 80s from Oxford tested positive for EEE. It was the first human case in the state since 2020. The State Department of Health says people in critical areas should avoid outside activities at night.
In areas of high and critical risk, we really want people to be thoughtful about when they time their outdoor activities. Mosquito activity, feeding activity really peaks at dusk and dawn.
Though it is rare, EEE is a very serious and potentially fatal disease that can affect people of all ages. It usually spreads to humans through the bite of an infected mosquito. Live in studio this morning, Sophia's.
Okay, so here we go again, folks. Here we go again. Massachusetts town in lockdown to combat mosquito-borne virus. Curfews in effect. Fauci gets sick. I mean, when Fauci gets sick, that makes headlines, right? That just kind of, isn't it kind of strange how you have this outbreak occurring of these mosquitoes? You've got this threat of monkeypox. You've got the Pope coming out. And then, of course, Fauci gets sick. And then all the news channels go, oh, my goodness, Fauci's sick. And it becomes national news because Lord Fauci has contracted whatever this thing is. And it just makes it amplifies the message even more because Fauci can do no wrong. Right? And all this perfectly in time for our election. Now, is this going to trigger mail-in ballots? Well, they've already got that whole program in place. They haven't stopped that. That's still going on. But if people start to get terrified because they see this type of news, then they're going to, maybe I won't vote in person this time. Maybe that monkeypox thing is real. Maybe I shouldn't go out, right? It only amplifies the message and helps with the potential election interference. That's how I see this entire thing breaking down. So we're going to continue to monitor exactly what's going on, but this monkeypox, you got West Nile, you got Fauci getting bitten. You got towns going into lockdown, and they're reporting it in not monkeypox, but this West Nile now in 33 states. So what do you guys think? So as we've seen, the parallels between the West Nile outbreak and the early days of COVID are undeniable, but here's the million-dollar question: why now? Just weeks before the most crucial election of our lifetime. Is it a coincidence or a convenient crisis? Remember, it starts with a curfew, but it could end with mail-in ballots and emergency voting measures. So stay vigilant, America. Your right to vote freely might depend on it. The fight for our liberty and our republic is far from over. Let's jump into the chat and see what everybody is saying tonight. What do you guys think? Sure You says the lockdowns don't apply to me. What will the people in West Nile do? Pixie says, I don't believe anything our government says. If they say it's good for you, run. Monkey bird flocks. What is this? Monkey bird flocks is going to get us all. Esther says they don't. Wow, the chat is on fire. They don't do that crap here in Idaho. Every year, West Nile breaks out in Idaho. They're not telling us to stay inside and giving us curfews. We just stock up on DEET. Oh, lovely. Teresa is volunteer to watch boxes in swing states. Good for you, Teresa. More BS from our unfriendly exterminators, says James. Ian says, let's hope more Democrats join Trump, especially in those swing states. Yes, Ian, we're working on that. That's what our next topic is all about. Summer Solstice makes an interesting point. Oh, come on, millions of people, and only Fauci gets sick? Great question. Studio states that they released genetically modified mosquitoes earlier this year. They certainly did, didn't they? Been expecting this for another plot to manipulate the elections. It won't work this time, says Eileen. Mike Taylor says it's not going to be easy. Taking down the white supremacist Joe Biden and them that discriminated on black people, they were controlled both sides for decades before Trump. Bobby, he says, when I see 33 people get sick in my town, I'll start to worry. Get new mosquito sprayer in Roseland, Florida. Running Bear says lockdowns are not allowed. Rinse and repeat, same playbook, says Gus. Yes, it is. Same playbook. But we're smarter than that, right? Let's get to our next topic now. In a political bombshell that's sending shockwaves through Washington, two former Democrat stars have crossed the aisle. Tulsi Gabbard has officially endorsed Donald Trump, and RFK Jr. has just joined his transition team. Is this the death knell for the Democrat Party as we know it, or is this the birth of a new political era? Buckle up, folks, because this is a bigger story than you could imagine. That's right. Now listen closely. In these turbulent political times, protecting your wealth is more crucial than ever. Gold prices have skyrocketed past $2,400 an ounce this year. as the U.S. dollar weakens, with our astronomical national debt and countries abandoning the OPEC agreement, smart investors are turning to precious metals. So don't be left behind. Secure your future with Global Gold Investments, America's trusted conservative precious metals dealer. The number on the screen, 888-700-4148. Give them a call for your free portfolio analysis and the essential 2024 Insure Your Money Guide. Mention Next News for priority service. Your financial security can't wait. Act now. Okay, let's jump into this story. Now, here, just a few hours ago, Robert F. Kennedy putting this out on his X account, stating that Wonder Woman has just joined the Justice League. And he has a picture here of Tulsi Gabbard in her uniform. Quite an interesting post. Wonder Woman joining the Justice League. Johnny Midnight posting a screenshot of Dan Bongino's post. When a lifelong Democrat from an iconic Democrat family who tried to run as a Democrat and whose running mate was a Democrat warns you about the dangers of voting for a Democrat in this election, you should probably listen. Here is Tulsi Gabbard officially endorsing President Trump, saying he'll put a stop to the endless wars.
Doing all that I to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief. Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its
against its people. That's what's happening. Tulsi Gabbard officially endorsing Donald Trump. Also, Dr. Phil posting an interview for his Merit TV show. Donald Trump says the mainstream media is not accurately portraying his recent comments about voting in the next cycle. We'll get to that clip in a moment here. But let's go to Trump first, who's formally announced that Tulsi Gabbard joined the campaign.
Veteran. And today I'm honored to officially welcome another true American patriot, a 17-year veteran of the Hawaii Army National Guard, a 4-term Democrat congresswoman, very, very popular, the former vice chair of the National Democratic Party and a 2020 Democrat candidate for the United States presidency. You know, she was a very good candidate. Every time she ran, she was good. She did well. She decided to leave. She couldn't take it anymore, but she is very special. And I didn't know this, but she was a lieutenant colonel. That's not bad. Lieutenant colonel. Not bad. I didn't know that. You know, I just found out. I said, put it down. You got to put that down. That's bigger. That's better than all the other stuff I read. But no, she's a special person. She's got great common sense, great spirit. She loves our country, and she loves the people in this room. Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, please.
We were told there were more Democrats going to be joining Trump's team, Tulsi being the first among them.
Today I'm honored
after, oh goodness, that was horrible. Let's see. Also, a new ad is out for Donald Trump. Everybody is raving about it. So maybe we should just play it.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad ad. Let's take a look at the moment Kamala Harris. She's trying to change the rules for the September 10th ABC debate. Wants to be seated with a cheat sheet. And of course, the media is twisting Donald Trump's recent words, saying he's chickening out of the debate. But no, He's not. That's not going to happen.
There are too many examples. I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. Wow. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Yeah. Totally burned on that one right there. Another note came in here. October surprise, iSource News. Biden to resign. This has been one of the big concerns that we've had. Confidential source says Democrats want to make Kamala president before the vote. Apparently this is developing, but this is rumored to be one of the strategies. In fact, Vivek Ramaswamy had mentioned it. We played it in a previous report. Mr. Reagan has repeatedly made this point very clear that this is what they would do to extend the honeymoon period. Could you imagine what would happen? October, Biden steps down due to health reasons, conveniently right before the election. And they have a whole swearing-in ceremony and all the speeches. Now it's President Kamala, Vice President Walz. The media would go nuts. It would make that campaign go supernova. That's their wild card, and now, according to this account, that's going to be the October surprise. Well, I hope this account is dead wrong. The Post-Millennial posting Kamala's campaign demands seated debate with notes for the September 10th ABC event. According to this poll, let's take a look. This is News Nation.
Trump. Polling from voters of tomorrow show Harris beating Trump by a whopping 32 points among those 18 to 29 years old in 7 battleground states. This is as of Tuesday. 54% said they would vote for Harris. 22% said they would vote for Donald Trump. Polling from voters
so that's a voting block.
Tomorrow show Harris beating Trump by a whopping 32 points among those 18 to 29 years old.
18 to 29 years old. I don't think they're going to swing this. I don't think they're going to swing that whole election, to be honest with you. And since we have RFK joining forces with Donald Trump, of course, the knives are out. I'm not sure if you've seen all the headlines that they're just attacking him, saying he slept with all these women 20 years ago. And like, I just saw a headline that they said he cut the head off a whale and put it on his car. Like, what? This stuff it doesn't even sound real. But they're going to put these headlines out there just to continue to try to smear him so people will somehow, not vote for RFK? Not vote for Trump? It's all ridiculous. And even his family members are coming out attacking him. Well, every Kennedy family member who is attacking RFK, what are they doing? What exactly are they doing to better this country? How are they capitalizing on their name to make this country a better place? I don't see them on the campaign trail. No, they're not sacrificing their lives, their fortune, and their sacred honor. That's what RFK's been doing when he's been on the campaign trail. But of course, you got family members attacking him. Here is this is Carrie Kennedy saying she's disgusted by her brother's obscene embrace of Donald Trump.
I think this is really the stakes this November couldn't be higher, which is exactly why my whole family will be fighting so hard to reelect Kamala Harris and Coach Waltz, who've been champions for the values that my family has fought for years. Donald Trump is the polar opposite. He's a threat to the most basic freedoms
that
are core to who we are as Americans, the right for women to control our bodies.
Sure.
The right
More lies.
to live in communities safe from gun violence, to love who you love. And I think if my dad were alive today, the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything Donald Trump represents. His lying, his selfishness, his rage, his cynicism, hatred, racism, fascist sympathies.
Oh, my God.
Deliberate misinformation about vaccines, criminal felony convictions. Daddy was the
She's reading off a list right in front of her.
Attorney General of the United States. His rape of E. Jean Carroll, his contempt for the poor and suffering, for ethics, democracy, healing, his cruel sneering at human rights for suffering of people.
Wow, she's got the list down pat.
In America and around the world. And these are the causes that was loved so passionately by the real Robert Kennedy. So I'm outraged and disgusted by my brother's gaudy and obscene embrace of Donald Trump. And I completely disavow and separate and dissociate myself from Robert Kennedy Jr. in this flagrant and inexplicable effort to desecrate and trample and set fire to my father's memory.
Oh, man. Dude, she had that whole statement prepared. Jen Psaki just eating it up on MSNBC. But of course, this wouldn't be the first family divided over a political argument, right? I'm sure you probably had the same problem. You go ahead and support Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden you're a racist and a white supremacist, right? Yeah. Of course. That's the nature of this election cycle. Continuing on, we've got this. This is interesting, I thought. RFK Jr. says he will end the crime of chemtrails. Somebody posted this. I call them tanker terminators. We are paid more than any other pilot. That's according to a chemtrail pilot whistleblower. I'm convinced the majority of them are remotely operated. The tech obviously exists, and there's way too many. Robert Kennedy actually chiming in, saying that he would stop the crime. See if I can get it up there. I can't show it to you, unfortunately. Yeah, here it is. Just announced Trump Unity administration would stop chemtrails. He declared, we're going to stop this crime. I don't know if you can see that any better, but yeah, we're going to stop this crime. Kamala Harris asked what would happen if Donald Trump becomes president and rolls back all DEI programs. She waffles endlessly while nervously scratching her face. I mean, there's a reason why she doesn't go out and do interviews. There's a reason why she's afraid to debate on Fox News, is because she can't form a policy position. And if she does, it doesn't make any sense.
And we
Here's a perfect example.
Front, Axios this week reported that President Trump, if he gets a second term, will sort of dial back, for lack of a better term, DEI programs that the Biden administration has put in forth. Obviously, I know you disagree with that. I obviously believe that you don't want him to get a second term. That said, if that does happen, what do you think that would do to race relations in this country?
Well, let me say we're going to win, so it's not going to happen. But I think that, listen, today is actually, I believe, an anniversary in terms of Dr. King, right?
Is it?
And I was just in Selma, and we celebrated, acknowledged the 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history, the parts that
just embrace your history
we're proud of, and the parts that we're not proud of, but that we can't forget.
I like school buses. I like yellow school buses too.
And we should all agree that we should teach history. We should learn history if we're to ever have an accurate idea of where we want to go and where we don't want to go in the future. And that means also acknowledging the importance of diversity. It means acknowledging the importance of the fact that everyone should have equal opportunity to compete and equity. And then, of course, inclusion.
Inclusion.
Hey,
of course, we should just acknowledge diversity and of course, equity and inclusion.
Around the room and see who's not here, and did we leave the door open?
Yeah. Which door? And let's take a look at this. Here's a clip here. It's almost impressive. May's more. It's almost impressive how absolutely shameless Kamala Harris and her campaign are. Here's Donald Trump, May of 2020, contrasted against Kamala in July 2024.
This is a tremendous. Will cap cost at just $35 a month per type of insulin, and some plans may offer it free. So for everybody who's getting ripped off and paying tremendous prices, senior citizens, is a tremendous saving.
It is President Biden and I that took on Big Pharma and finally capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. But Donald Trump and his running mate intend to get rid of our $35 cap on insulin.
Will cap cost is just
straight up lie. A straight up lie right there. These people have no shame at all. No shame. They will lie straight to the face of the American people, day in and day out. Health Ranger posting the Democrats don't need Kamala to be popular or intelligent or to even have a single policy in order to win this election. All they need to do is rig the polls, which has been done. We've been talking about that, right? Anytime you turn on the news, oh, Kamala, there's 51 to 49. Rig the polls, rig the voter rolls, count up all the illegitimate ballots and votes as if they were real coming November 5th. Gaslight the nation with the claim that Kamala has won and threaten to arrest anyone who questions the outcome. The DOJ already made this threat. Trump quite literally has as much as 90% of the popular vote right now. That's according to Martin Armstrong. But sophisticated cheating by the Dems makes real votes almost irrelevant. This is not a contest of voting. It's a contest of who counts the votes. And Dems will cheat, doing whatever it takes without any legal limits to try to stop and remain in power. How is the GOP and MAGA going to counter that? Great question. That's what terrifies me. Like, here you go. Here's one of those polls. Little pump tweeting out, ain't no way it's this close. Trump will have a landslide victory come November. If Kamala wins, communism's right around the corner. I'm going to have to put some money where my mouth is to shut everyone up. Look at this poll. Polymarket 50 to 49. No way it's this close. Redheaded Libertarian, in case you are wondering why Kamala Harris has so many demands for the ABC debate, this is what happened last time she tried to be president. And this is the same clip that we played for you earlier. Here's RFK telling Tucker Carlson he'll be on Trump's transition team. This is
amazing, corrupts the whole enterprise. So my last question, what happens now? You had this kind of amazing announcement with Donald Trump on Friday. It's now Monday, I think, it was just 3 days ago. How do you spend from here until Election Day?
I'm going to work to get him elected. And I'm working with the campaign. We're working on policy issues together. I've been asked to go onto the transition team and, to help pick the people who will be running the government. And I'm looking forward to that. And
corrupts the whole.
So, Robert F. Kennedy joining the transition team. This is huge, huge news. And then we, of course, have Tulsi Gabbard making the endorsement. And RFK says his father and uncle will be ashamed of the modern-day Democrat Party, completely contrasting what his sister told MSNBC.
They prided and handpick a candidate who in 40 days now has not given a single interview on any media outlet. And I think about when my uncle and father would think about that. They prided themselves on being able to go on debate. It was the centerpiece. The whole function of democracy was to anneal ideas in the furnace of debate and have them rise up in the marketplace of ideas. And the idea that, and we had this British tradition of Churchill and the others in the House of Commons, and being able to defend their policies and being forced to defend their policies articulately, eloquently. And, my uncle and father just thought ideas are important and we should be able to defend them. And if you can't defend them, there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
And why? So we have a presidential candidate that was selected by the Democratic Party who can't do that. And, one of the things that my uncle and father will always think about is how do we look to the rest of the world, right? They were conscious that America was the template for democracy. When we created a modern democracy in 1789 or 1791, when the Bill of Rights was ratified, we were the only democracy on earth. By 1865, during the end of the Civil War, there were 5, and they were all modeled on America. And by the time my uncle took office, there was about 150, and by the end of the 60s, there's 190. They're all based on American model. And, we very much were the exemplary nation. We were the example of democracy around the globe, and they were very conscious. They were embarrassed at first by the civil rights movement because they said, what is the rest of the world going to think about it? And then they realized, well, we better correct, the problem.
Yeah.
Because, but everything that they did, they were conscious that they were being watched. What is the rest of the world think of American democracy right now? That, that we have in one party selected a man with dementia to lead the free world, and then turned around and picked a woman who cannot give an interview. She cannot defend her vision or America's record in the world. And then she gave this, Vice President Harris gave this speech at the convention that was written by neocons. And they had CIA directors talking at the Democratic Convention, military people talking at the Democratic Convention. My father and my uncle were the party of anti-war. My uncle was asked by his best friend, Ben Bradley, one of his 2 best friends who ran the Washington Post, what do you want on your gravestone, your epitaph? And my uncle said immediately he kept the peace. He said the primary job of a president of the United States was to keep the country out of war. He said he didn't want children in Africa and Latin America and Asia, when they heard about the United States of America, to think of a man with a gun. They wanted them to think of a Peace Corps volunteer and the Alliance for Progress and USAID. which were programs that he created to build the middle class, to end run the oligarchs, end run the military juntas that used to receive U.S. aid, and instead go directly to the poor and build institutions, education and health, and all of the institutions of democracy to continue to model it for the rest of the world and live up to what we were supposed to be doing, which is to encourage the growth of democratic rule and handpick a candidate.
God bless him. God bless RFK. God bless Tulsi Gabbard. God bless Donald Trump. So much is happening right now in the campaigns, and we're just waiting for that debate to happen. I think Donald Trump's going to mop the floor with her. I really would have liked to see her debate on Fox, because Donald Trump's not going to get a fair shake on any other network. So we'll have to wait and see. But the secret weapon has been unleashed. There's a new ad. We've got RFK going out and actively campaigning, being asked to join the transition team. Tulsi Gabbard officially joining the team. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have witnessed is nothing short of a political revolution. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. jumping ship to Team Trump is not just a story, it is a seismic shift in American politics. And the question now is, who is next? And more importantly, what does this mean for the future of our nation? So keep your eyes open, folks. The 2024 election just got a whole lot more interesting. All right, let's check in with chat. What's up, chat? What do you guys think about all this? Okay. God only wake up the wise one that are meant to see. RFK Jr. would make a good president, says Mike. The party of misfit toys, and I'm here for it, says Beatrix. Light connection. We love the Kennedys. Yes, sure you. It is all madness. Checking back in the chat. RFK is the man, says SAnt13. If Kamala wins, there goes all of the white people, says Andrew. RFK, excuse me, his security revoked. Yeah, so the reason, because he's withdrawn from the campaign, he's no longer eligible for Secret Service protection. That's standard protocol. It is what it is. So I don't think it's a nefarious move in any stretch, but that's just the way it is. Let's see, we have Christina says Democrats will do what they do best: lie, deceive, and political attacks against those who do not support their narratives, policies, and agenda. Lie, 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 a dreadful political party. Stephanie, she says, never forget the poem The Snake. Are we watching that poem in action? Ooh, that's an interesting idea. I certainly hope not. Avalex LLC. Anyone familiar with Yuri Bezmenov? We actually did a story on Yuri and his disclosures we did a story recently, but his disclosures many years ago. I encourage everybody, look at the screen right now, write that name down, and look up his speeches that he's given. Absolutely phenomenal about how they intend to destroy America from within. JFK fired the CIA director, was on the Warren Commission. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Kennedy is a good man. Whether Democrat or Republican means nothing. If you're not following us on X, please do so. You'll often see a lot of my retweets and replies before we put them on this show, as I bookmark all of the stories that I find on the X feed and bring them to you here. Basically, collecting all the news, all the headlines, all the opinions, and presenting them. So make sure you follow us on X. Also follow us on Rumble, too. That's where we're also streaming. And we've got, right now, we've got almost 2,000 people watching on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube Open up your phone, copy the link, spread it out. Let's see if we can get 3,000 people watching. Can you help us get that number? We got 125 on X and 172 on Rumble currently. So let's get those numbers up, friends. Let's get those numbers up. Okay, we've got another story we're going to jump into. This one is the Zuckerberg story. Very interesting revelations, of course, especially with the news of the Telegram CEO getting arrested. Even William Shatner weighing in. Unbelievable. Let's get into this. In a stunning revelation, Mark Zuckerberg has admitted to colluding with the Biden-Harris administration to censor Americans, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. The CEO of Telegram has been arrested in France, allegedly for refusing to censor his platform. Is this the end of free speech as we know it, or is this a wake-up call America needs? Stay tuned as we unravel this web of deception. Now pay attention. In the age of digital surveillance and censorship, your privacy on the road is more important than ever. Recent reports show that drivers with dash cams are 60% less likely to be found at fault in traffic accidents, but it's not just about accidents, it's about protecting your rights. This easy-to-install dash cam records every detail, offering 24/7 security and peace of mind with 4K Ultra HD night vision and continuous recording. It's your silent witness against overreach. Visit that link you see on the screen. It's down in the description, carvisionx.com. Get free express shipping and exclusive bonuses. Don't let Big Brother watch you watch back. Okay, let's get into this story now. The FBI, Jesse Kelly, says break the FBI into 1,000 pieces and scatter to the winds. It will end this nation. It will. A secret police agency guarantees a clash between the states and the federal government. It will happen. End the FBI. Quote tweeting Peachy Keenan, the FBI was telling Facebook to remove Russian disinformation about Burisma and Hunter Biden when it was actually true information. Now, of course, this is not. You are smart enough to know that we have been shouting this from the rooftops for years when it all happened. And then, of course, the Twitter files, the Facebook files, all getting dumped on X, revealing the inner workings. And now we know it's 100% true. It's not like some conspiracy that was posted on X. Zuckerberg officially confirming it. Laura Loomer, Zuckerberg sees the writing on the wall and he wants to save himself from accountability. Don't let him get away with what he did. Donald Trump, post from his Truth Social. This is what everyone has been waiting for. The 2020 presidential election was rigged. Posting this image, Zucker Punch, with the headline, the front page of the New York Post. Zuckerberg admits Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor COVID content, says it was wrong to suppress the Post Hunter laptop coverage. Just in 4 hours ago, Trump's statement after Mark Zuckerberg said Biden-Harris admin pressured Facebook to censor content. Zuckerberg admits that the White House push to suppress Hunter Biden laptop story and more. In other words, the 2020 presidential election was rigged. Fox News, New York Post, Representative Laura Lee, House Judiciary Committee. Donald Trump posting that, making it big news. Spitfire stating, this is just delicious after Zuck's confession. The Hunter laptop story. Wait, I'm going to play this clip for you in a moment because it's a really good flashback to when the media was lying to everyone's face. They were calling us all conspiracy nuts for even considering that this would be true. Oh, I'm gonna play this for you in a moment, but I do want to get to this is the actual letter that was sent. Patrick Bet-David. Zuckerberg admitted to working with the Biden-Harris administration to censor Americans. He either admitted to this because 1, he's being honorable, 2, he's done being with the Democrat Party, or 3, he's getting ahead of a whistleblower. Either way, it's a very hard letter to write. The House Judiciary GOP. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted 3 things. Biden-Harris had been pressured Facebook to censor Americans. Facebook censored Americans. Facebook throttled the Hunter Biden laptop story, a big win for free speech. Now, I want to make a special note that in just a few days, there's going to be a reckoning. Today is August 27th. Texas, if you haven't seen that interview that I did, Texas has sent a letter to Google and YouTube demanding information with respect to election interference. And during the hearing with the Texas Senate Committee on State Affairs, this very channel, Next News Network, was brought up. It was mentioned. Zach Voorhees, the Google whistleblower, said that we need to get to the bottom of why this channel was demonetized. And told the Texas Senate Committee that they need to subpoena Google to find out why. And now we know a letter was sent out just a few weeks ago, and they have until August 30th to respond. That's just 3 days away. And if they don't respond, then the subpoena power is going to kick in. And it's going to drag Google into the Texas jurisdiction where they have no escape. Normally, if you try to sue Google, try to sue YouTube, what happens? You have to go into their jurisdiction, into their rigged courts. Well, now the game has changed. Texas is dragging them in, and they cannot do a venue change. They can't push it to a federal court. They can't do anything. They have to answer to Texas because Texas has the sole jurisdiction with their subpoenas to get the answers. So very soon, 3 days from now, we're going to find out if they complied. Daniel Cochran was the guy I interviewed. You need to see that interview. It is on the channel. Go to the channel page. You should see it right there on the front page. Very, very important interview, especially in light of what we're seeing here from the House Judiciary Committee, GOP. Now, Chris Pavlovsky, who is the CEO of Rumble, he calls this letter explosive and damning. He said in 2021, during COVID, Rumble told the media to pound sand. We told tech companies threatening to cancel us to pound sand. We did not fold. We had balls of steel. Meta had no balls. He's responding to that. Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook and Instagram, admits and regrets to working with the Biden-Harris administration to censor information online during the COVID era. Imagine if all that information wasn't censored. Imagine if they didn't call us conspiracy theorists. Imagine if they didn't delete our content here on YouTube. How many people's lives would have been saved? How many millions of people's lives? RFK Jr. says Elon Musk should be a hero to the Democrat Party, but somehow he's a villain because he's the only platform that will allow free speech. Listen to this.
So in their current formulation, misinformation is defined as any speech that criticizes the job that they're doing. So with that in mind, you see the Biden administration encouraging France, Macron, to arrest the owner and founder of Telegram, Pavel Durov, who's now, as of right now, in a French prison. That seems like, that's the hallmark of dictatorship, it sounds to me.
Yeah, well, we've lost Europe. Europe does not have free speech. Look what's happened to Elon Musk. And Elon Musk should be the hero of the Democratic Party. Of the old Democratic Party, he wouldn't be the hero. Somehow he became a villain because he was actually the only platform that would allow free speech on his platform. And he's now become a villain because of it, because the Democratic Party does not believe in the people. If you don't believe in free speech, it means because you don't trust the people. You don't trust them to figure it out on their own, to have information on which they can base their ideas and their notions and their beliefs.
And their votes.
And that the government has to protect them from dangerous information, things that might put bad ideas into their heads. And it's very patronizing, but it's also very manipulative and conniving, and really it's exactly the opposite of democracy.
It certainly is. Now, what's interesting is that Pavel Durov was just on with Tucker Carlson. And he was arrested after this interview. William Shatner celebrated it. Yeah, Captain Kirk. The CEO of Telegram was arrested today in France for failing to moderate his platform. Good, he says. They do nothing to prevent fraud and scams. I'm tired of the scammers who use that platform to pretend they are me. Oh, because someone created a clone account of William Shatner and hurt your feelings. You want the CEO to go to jail? What about all the what about not just misinformation, but what about the crimes that are being spread on Facebook? The trafficking. Oh, are they going to go after Zuckerberg? And of course, William Shatner got roasted when he posted this. Jeremy Prime, absolutely horrible take. By your logic, we should arrest every police officer who's allowed any crime to go unpunished. Neither does T-Mobile. I get scam calls all the time, but we aren't arresting their CEO. Facebook allows people to scam tons of men who think I am asking them for money, and have allowed this for years. Men who have sent tens of thousands of dollars to someone pretending to be me year after year, no arrests. William, I thought you were for free speech. This happened after he went on Tucker and told him the FBI approached one of his engineers to create a backdoor so they could spy on users. Perfect segue. Let's show you that clip right here. Let's go.
And we get too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. So to give you an example, last time I was in the US, I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back by cybersecurity officers or agents, wherever they are called.
The U.S. government tried to hire your engineer?
That's my understanding. That's what he told me.
To write code for them or to break into Telegram?
They were curious to learn which open source libraries are integrated to the Telegram's app, on the client side, and they were trying to persuade him to use certain open source tools that he would then integrate into the Telegram's code that, in my understanding, would serve as backdoors.
Would allow the U.S. government to spy on people who use Telegram?
The U.S. government, or maybe any other government, because a backdoor is a backdoor regardless of who is using it.
That's right.
And
that's a little surprising to hear. Maybe it's not surprising, it's offensive. You're confident that happened?
Yes. There is no reason for my engineer to make up the stories. Also because I personally experienced similar pressure in the US. Whenever I would go to the US, I would have two FBI agents greeting me at the airport, asking questions. One time I was having my breakfast at like 9 a.m. and the FBI showed up at my house that I was renting. And that was quite surprising. And I thought, we're getting too much attention here. It's probably not the best environment to run.
Why would had you committed a crime?
No, they were interested to learn more about Telegram. They knew I, left Russia. They knew what we were doing, but they wanted details. And my understanding is that they wanted to establish a relationship to, in a way, control Telegram better. I understand they were doing their job. It's just that for us running a privacy-focused social media platform, that probably wasn't the best environment to be in. We want to be focused on what we do, not on government relations of that sort.
Government relations.
Yeah. And now he's sitting in a prison cell. And what's interesting, too, I am going to play that clip with the media, the flashback clip. But what's interesting is during his travels, Pavel Durov was joined by 24-year-old crypto coach and streamer Yulia Velinov, who resides in Dubai. She was also by his side at the time of his arrest in France, leading up to the August 24 arrest. She was actively sharing photos on social media from his private jet and the various locations that they visited together. Speculation is growing she might have been a spy involved in the downfall, the very woman he intended to show around Paris. She was constantly posting photos and geolocations online, documenting his every move. And here she is. Quite the honeypot right there. Pictures from the private jet. There they are together. So it's, I mean, if they're going to go after his engineer, why wouldn't they go after a girl, an Instagram girl, posting pictures? It's, I mean, this is textbook honeypot situation. And of course, Emmanuel Macron, he's weighing in on the whole situation. I've seen false information regarding France following the arrest of Pavel Durov. France is deeply committed to freedom of expression and communication, to innovation, and to the spirit of entrepreneurship. It will remain so. In a state governed by the rule of law, freedoms are upheld with a legal framework, both on social media and in real life, to protect citizens and respect their fundamental rights. It's up to the judiciary in full independence to enforce the law. The arrest of the president of Telegram on French soil took place as part of an ongoing judicial investigation. It's in no way a political decision. It's up to judges to rule. Thanks for that, Emmanuel. Zach Voorhees, Google whistleblower. The left started out gaslighting us that censorship wasn't even happening. Now they're jailing CEOs who don't censor. Elon Musk. Dangerous times. Quote tweeting end wokeness. UK mass arrests citizens for memes. France arrests founder of Telegram. Ireland tries to ban mean memes. Brazil forces X to flee the country. Australia tries to censor X posts. And we're finding out that he was actually charged on 12 criminal counts. And this is Tucker and RFK discussing that arrest.
Yeah, well,
You see the Biden administration encouraging France, Macron, to arrest the owner and founder of Telegram, Pavel Durov, who's now, as of right now, in a French prison. That seems like, I mean, that's the hallmark of dictatorship, it sounds to me.
Yeah, well, we've lost Europe. Europe does not have free speech.
That's certainly true. Europe does not have free speech. And now the UAE demanding France provide consular access to Telegram CEO. The UAE is closely following its case of its citizen, the founder of Telegram, who was arrested by the French authorities. Very troubling times indeed. But the internet is forever, as they say. And as Zuckerberg has come out, let's take a look back at that moment when the left-wing media went into overdrive to protect the deep state.
And talk about Facebook having problems and Twitter having problems with a story that even the New York Post knew was a lie. They published a series of lies peddled to them by Rudy Giuliani, who admitted that nobody else would take it but Rupert Murdoch's New York Post, because they might look into it and tell the truth. Here we are in 2020. This is what it's come down to, America. Giuliani is feeding Russian misinformation to Donald Trump and feeding Russian disinformation to the New York Post. They know it's a lie.
Yeah, well,
that's where we are in 2020.
The New York Post.
Just
That's
to let you know that they're still talking to Russians. And by the way, Russian hoax, come on. Really, seriously, history will expose you all as fools and useful idiots for the Russians.
No, history is exposing you as a fool.
For 4 years now, there has been a line from Russian agents into the campaign. It's unbelievable how stupid you think Americans are. How stupid you think Americans are. For you can just say Russian hoax. Seriously? It's the idiocy, the sheer idiocy. You are revealed right now, but you will be revealed throughout history.
Oh, you will, buddy. You will be revealed. You're being revealed right now.
Running cover for Russians.
And you've got this computer repair shop owner in Delaware who is a staunch Trump supporter and who peddles in conspiracy theories and whose shop is thousands of miles away from where Hunter Biden lives. So you've got a lot of questions here. This whole thing smells bad, Joe. I don't think there's a lot of credence. That's why the FBI is questioning not the Bidens, but Rudy Giuliani. And I think the message here, the lesson here is that if you're going to plan an October surprise, you may want to choose a planner who is not parading around the world with a known Russian secret agent for the last year. Wow. Maybe choose a planner that has better peer reviews next time.
So this looks like Russian intelligence. This walks like Russian intelligence. This sounds like Russian intelligence. Every intelligence professional I've been talking to, Mika, says this is a Russian intelligence disinformation campaign. Rudy Giuliani was not fed passively Russian disinformation. He ordered it off the menu.
So do they look into how 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before an election, someone decided to use a tabloid to, in all probability, know that they were smearing a major candidate against a president that this tabloid was supporting, and whether or not that would fall under a criminal investigation leading to some kind of criminal charges?
Leave it with that, folks. Leave it with that. I mean, this is a textbook scenario. The media carrying water for the intelligence agencies. But now we have Mark Zuckerberg coming out, admitting the whole thing. I mean, he this is not new news. I mean, the letter that Zuckerberg wrote is new. I mean, remember when he went on Joe Rogan, he talked about it a year ago. And then we had the Twitter files, the Facebook files getting dumped on X. But now we have a letter penned by Zuckerberg himself just after we have the founder of Telegram being arrested. So who's going to be arrested next? I mean, of course, Zuckerberg, he's part of the protected class. He's not going to get arrested. What happens if Elon Musk decides to go into Europe? What happens if Elon Musk decides to go to the UK? Are they going to arrest him too? So Elon, maybe just kind of hang tight here in the U.S. All right, don't go making any crazy trips anywhere, please. We can't afford to lose you next, okay? So as we've uncovered, the assault on our freedom of speech is real and it's happening right now. Remember, Google has 3 days to respond to Texas about election interference in that state. And this very channel brought up in those Texas Senate hearings. So from Silicon Valley to the streets of Paris, the global elite are tightening their grip on the flow of information. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. We still have the power. Your voice, your clicks, your shares, they are more important than ever. The fight for freedom of speech isn't over, my friends. It is just beginning. All right, let's check in with the chat. See what you guys are saying. Get your reactions in real time to this. Omega. Put Elon in the cabinet so we can get diplomatic immunity. Remember that from Lethal Weapon? When that one guy, he was a diplomat. He would just do whatever he wanted. And at the end, they put the gun up and he's like, I have diplomatic immunity. Right? And then he's quickly dispatched. Elon probably doesn't want to go to Europe anyway, says Mike Ray. XRP, Digital Revolution, XRP, because Corn Pop is a bad dude. Tina simply writing, Next News Network. What's up? I appreciate that. Robert Arnold, he says, if they don't comply with Texas, nothing will happen as usual. I'm sick of talk and nothing else. Well, Robert, they have no choice but to comply with Texas. They'll probably fight the subpoenas, but in the end, they're going to have to comply. As conservatives, we are dedicated to the goal, Ashley says, of trying to avoid the shame and historical significance that we will face if Trump is convicted of felonies for trying to illegally overturn an election. Mark says, thank God for real men like RFK and Donald Trump to save us and our country. God is still on the throne and in control. Christians need to pray for both of these men. I agree. Amen. David Packman. Oh, okay. You guys can read that. Facts, lies matter. This is one of the few places that Travis gets his news. Thank you for trusting us, Travis. World Bigfoot Central. Gary is usually following the news, but now he is becoming the news. I assume that you're talking about what's happening in Texas, because that is a huge, huge story. Again, if you haven't seen the interview with Daniel Cochran, the Senior Research Associate at the Heritage Foundation Tech Policy Center, that I did just a few weeks ago, you need to see that interview. Absolutely eye-opening. In it, we discuss Google whistleblower Zach Voorhees, Dr. Robert Epstein, connecting the dots the mainstream media don't want you to see. And he gives the inside scoop on what's at stake and what it means for the future of free speech in America. You need to go and take a look at that interview, and I might as well see if I can bring it up just real quick here on our channel, just so you know where to go. Just a second. Where is it? Videos. Okay, here it is. Okay, Brian, if you could just bring up the me in the box real quick. This is the interview titled Breaking Code Red in Silicon Valley. Texas just dropped.
Texas Senate Committee on State Affairs has issued a formal document request to Meta.
Code Red in Silicon Valley, Texas just dropped a digital bomb on YouTube and Google. 181,000 views on that video. So make sure you go and check it out. Maybe one of our moderators could put the link in the chat. That'd be helpful. DeLorean Rental posting this picture of a DeLorean Domino's pizza delivery vehicle. That's funny. Okay, let's get to our next story here. This is going to make you very mad. So, sorry about that. If you didn't know about this, you will now. Okay. Brace yourselves, America, because what I'm about to tell you might make your blood boil. California, in its infinite wisdom, is considering offering $150,000 in home loans to illegal immigrants. Yes, you heard that right. While millions of Americans struggle to make ends meet, your tax dollars could be funding homes for those who entered our country illegally. Is this the final nail in the coffin of the American dream? Let's dive into this madness. Now, listen up. With the housing market in chaos and the government making outrageous decisions, it's time to take control of your investments. Have you considered copper? World Copper Limited, WCUFF, is sitting on a gold mine, or should I say copper mine. We're talking about 7 million tons of copper with a potential revenue of over $200 million. As green technologies boom, copper demand is skyrocketing, and this could be your chance to get ahead of the curve. World Copper trades as WCU on the TSX Venture and WCUFF on the OTC. So remember, always do your own research, but don't let this opportunity slip away. Check the description for more details. Now, let's jump into this crazy story. Democrats are pushing a bill to provide over $100,000 in taxpayer-funded payments on homes for illegal aliens. Yep. Listen to this.
Stuart, that is what Democrats are trying to ram through Sacramento right now. It's basically a program that subsidizes qualified illegal immigrants to up to $100,000 each.
How does somebody become a qualified illegal immigrant?
By home. So the program is called the California Dream for All program. It's created to help middle and income home buyers. Now, initially, the program required residents to be here legally, either a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident. But last week, Assembly Democrats overrode Republican opposition, changing that eligibility to say this: an applicant who meets the requirements for a loan under the Home Purchase Assistance Program shall not be disqualified by the agency based solely on the applicant's immigration status.
The social and economic benefits of homeownership should be accessible to everyone, regardless of immigration status.
So the program provides first-time buyers with a zero-interest loan up to 20% of a home's purchase price. On a median-priced home in California, that's about $150,000 cash up front for each buyer, with their down payment and help with closing costs. So far this year, the program cost taxpayers about $255 million to help about 2,000 buyers. The bill is sponsored by a prominent Latino rights group with close ties to Vice President Harris.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. It pays to be illegal, doesn't it? Here we have a woman, 96 years old, in California, about to be evicted from her senior living facility in Pacific Grove despite paying over $200,000 to live there. But wait, her state representative, Robert Rivas, voted in favor of a plan to give illegal migrants $150,000 down payment.
A $250,000. 96-year-old Jean Jacques has lived at her apartment complex for over 20 years. She's happy, healthy, and full of life. She says she was unbothered living here until a few weeks ago, when she received a 3-day eviction notice from the facility. In 2002, Jean says she signed a lifetime contract with the previous owner, California Nevada Methodist Homes, that said she could live here for the rest of her life. She paid a $250,000 down payment and was paying $5,000 a month in rent until her savings ran out.
I was shocked because the reason I moved into Forest Hill Manor was to be taken care of the rest of my life.
Back in 2022, Methodist Homes went bankrupt and sold the facility to Pacifica Senior Living, a for-profit company out of San Diego, with the clause that they would have to honor the lifetime contract like Jean's. But Jean and advocates for senior rights say the new owner is not doing that, and they want to evict Jean.
She's devoted all of her savings and money to this place. What would you do? I mean, can you see her out on the sidewalk? I don't think so. I mean, that's just insane to me.
It is insane. But if she was illegal, I'm sure they'd be rolling out the red carpet for her. Meanwhile, in Oregon, this news broke a few days before this California story. Hacienda CDC is using taxpayer funds to give $30,000 grants to illegals to buy homes in Oregon. American citizens are not even allowed to apply. Grants for first-time home buyers in the state of Oregon, $30,000. Conditions, only for people who are not American citizens. For example, ITIN holders, DACA recipient refugees, asylees, green card holders, amongst others. So American citizens need not apply. What do you think about that? I meme, therefore I am. Breaking: Hacienda Community Development Corp is participating in a taxpayer-funded $30,000 down payment assistance program, provides money to undocumented immigrants to buy homes in Oregon while excluding American citizens. Fox Business actually covered this.
A taxpayer-funded group is offering $30,000 to new home buyers. Lauren, you cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
Why would an American citizen apply for a taxpayer-funded program
to get $30,000 for a new home. I mean, it's wild. The group is called Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They offer payment assistance in Oregon to DACA recipients, asylees, green card holders, basically any non-U.S. citizen. This is state-sponsored discrimination, Stuart. That's what it is. I mean, it's crazy. That's their goal. They want to open up housing and the American dream to non-U.S. citizens.
Okay, I guess that's the reason why that's why we have an open border, because eventually these folks will vote and vote Democrat because they're the people who let them in. That's what this is about.
Part of me wants to say crazy things happen in Oregon, but I think this will go far beyond Oregon. There is a critical shortage of houses across the United States, particularly in Oregon, and then they're giving $30K to non-taxpayers.
Yeah, which will raise the price of houses.
For everybody else.
Pathetic. All right.
And of course, Kamala Harris offering a similar $25,000. California to consider $150,000 home loans for illegal immigrants. They're close to approving a measure that would make illegal immigrants eligible for state-supported home loans and down payments. The California Dream for All program would provide 20% down payment assistance, no savings required for recipients. Gavin Newsom's spokesperson said he would evaluate the bill on its merits if it reaches his desk. Critics argue this measure could incentivize illegal immigration to the state, according to the source, which is Fox News. Politico, also on the story, Bill Malhusian. Democrats are proposing a first-in-the-nation initiative that will help illegal immigrants buy homes. Let's see, what's Gavin Newsom saying here?
We need comprehensive. I'm a border state governor. You don't need to lecture me on this topic. The reality is lived every single day. We need comprehensive immigration reform. And the irony of this, the frustration.
You know what? I hate when they say comprehensive immigration reform. We need comprehensive immigration reform. It's just that buzzword that they say to make it sound like they're doing something. Comprehensive immigration reform means asylum for all so that they can register them all as Democrats, even though they're registering them anyway. This is their plan to steal the election.
Is Joe Biden put out a great plan. He has a plan, 8-year pathway to citizenship, fast-tracking Dreamers and TPS, dealing with border security and new technology.
Well, Governor, I know you're complaining that we're a border state here, but come on, think about it for a minute. Why are you allowing your Senate Appropriations Committee here in the state to pass a proposal that would give illegal immigrants down payment assistance when they come to buy a house? What about hardworking Californians? And then on top of that, you're giving promos to the Biden administration who diverted the VA benefits that were meant to be for veterans. These were healthcare benefits that are now going to illegal immigrants. Wow. We're doing the same thing here in California with that big Medi-Cal expansion that allows illegal immigrants to receive free healthcare. On top of that, the Senate Appropriations Committee just passed a proposal. You know, they want to have control over the masses, so they want to institute universal basic income. California is the petri dish for what they want to do in the rest of the nation. I mean, come on, you're also blaming Republicans for the fact that we haven't had meaningful immigration reform. Recall that Democrats controlled both houses of Congress in 2021 and still did not manage to pass the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Act of 2021. Biden promised a path to citizenship for these people and did not deliver. So enough with the politics.
Wow. So all this is happening now. Oh, this guy's great. You guys ever see this guy?
Zero interest. California is now proposing zero interest and zero down for illegal immigrants buying a home. What's even the point of being an American citizen anymore? California is now...
Great point. What is the point? Maybe we should all just renounce our citizenship, right? Elon Musk weighing in on the topic. California also passed a bill providing free medical care to illegals that took effect in January. Seems like half of Earth should move to California, given all the incentives to do so. Oh, don't worry, Elon, they're on their way. They are on their way. So you got California, Oregon, this poor lady getting booted out of her facility. Maybe she should renounce her citizenship too, right? Maybe we should all. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we've discussed is not just a policy, it's a slap in the face to every hardworking American citizen. While you struggle to afford a home, California wants to hand out loans to those who broke our laws to get here. But here's the real question. Will you stand for it? Or will you make your voice heard? Remember, silence is compliance, and it's time to speak up, America. Your country needs you. And the answer is in November. All right, let's check in with chat. What's up, chat? See what you guys are saying about this crazy, crazy story. Trump America said never knew that existed. Well, now you know. Pixie Duster says the point is for our middle class to work and pay for all of this BS. Digital Revolution says, where can I sign up for a legal status? Will Strong Novastar. It's pretty clear they want them for votes. What's not so clear to them is once they use them for the vote, they could care less about them. That's exactly what it is. Die Netta Die, blame the voters in a democratic republic. May they burn in hell, he says. That's a Rumble message. Robin Lineberger, my whole property is protected from mosquitoes. I live in the country and keep it out year-round. Winter on the way, nothing to worry about because they hate cold weather. Slywalker, he doesn't do anything but destroy California. That is a Rumble message. And I'm sure you're talking about Gavin Newsom there. Gary, she is just reading it. Wow, can't even spew lies off the top of her head. You must be talking, Jay, you must be referring to when RFK's sister was on MSNBC. Yeah, she was totally reading. You could see her looking down and reading at her notes, referring to all that. Okay, let's take a look at the latest happenings in the news feed. Winning Reality asking a question real quick here. Do you do interviews on other channels? And if so, how can I line one up? Well, first of all, just send me an email at gary@nextnewsnetwork.com. Send me an email, gary@nextnewsnetwork.com, and we can talk about that. All right? How's that sound? Okay, let's jump into the feed and catch the latest. Elon Musk saying potential Tesla SpaceX collab, ride-hailing works even if you're in space. Who would have guessed SpaceX would beat Tesla to market with a ride-hailing service? That's funny. Yeah, SpaceX is going to have to go up there and save those astronauts who've been stranded in space because of the Boeing Starliner. Couldn't even get that thing to work correctly. And their suits aren't compatible with the SpaceX suits. My guess is that Elon's going to send up a couple extra spacesuits. Think about that. Greg Price. You can't make this up. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson denied RFK's request to remove his name from the ballot. But she just attempted to remove Cornel West from the ballot, losing a court case that she's now appealing. Why? Wow. Isn't that interesting? She can try to remove Cornel West, but she's refusing to remove RFK. Man, Michigan, you guys got a mess over there. I mean, Illinois is bad, but Michigan's bad. They're both bad. Michigan denies RFK Jr.'s escape from presidential ballot. Why it matters. Kennedy said last week he would withdraw his name from the ballot in key swing states to avoid hurting former President Trump's chances in November. But in Michigan, one of the states that could decide the election, is too late for Kennedy to remove his name for the Secretary of State. Minor party candidates cannot withdraw, so his name will remain on the ballot in the November election. Cornel West Back on Michigan's presidential ballot, apparently. They're doing everything they can to try to swing the election in their direction. A man faints headfirst at a bar. Resist the mainstream. This poor guy. What do you think may have caused this? He's holding a bunch of cash, too. Wow, he's holding all this cash. Wow. I don't know. Either he's drunk or he's having a heart attack. Oh, yes, this latest news, too. Kamala Harris apparently wants to build a wall now. 58 minutes ago, Mario Nafal, Kamala on the border wall 2017. Don't build it. 2024, build it. And now she's saying build the wall. That's according to a report from Axios today. Oh man, Raheem Kassam, look at this. At this rate, Kamala will be grabbing him by the hee-haw by the end of the week. All she's doing is copying and pasting all of Donald Trump's policies. Alex says the monkeypox vaccine is being shipped around the country, according to a trucker. Spanish civil guard versus a boat full of illegals. Wait for the ending. Whoa! Oh, man. Oh, man. Did you see that? Right over the top. Citizens Free Press. MJ Truth Ultra 5 hours ago. Trump assassination attempt. The FBI cracked into 2 of the 3 foreign encrypted apps, but won't tell the public what they found. Interviews conducted with the neighbors. Says everybody knew each other in the neighborhood, but nobody knew the Crooks family. Crooks family hired powerhouse criminal lawyer John Quinn and Matthew Logue, ranked in the top 50. The area of practice includes personal injury, wrongful death, legal malpractice. How do they have the money to hire lawyers like this? What do they have to hide if they had nothing to do with it? Who recommended the dad hire these specific lawyers? Did it have something to do with the fact the FBI allowed the premature cremation of the body? Why did the top brass at Secret Service headquarters tell agents not to request extra manpower? So what did they find in those encrypted messaging apps? They found 700 messages on social media, but sources say it may not have been written by Crooks, but instead by his father. Really? What are they saying? The father is like the orchestrator of this whole thing? Tara Bull, 24 minutes ago, Donald Trump doing the president's duties for him. Where are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris at the tomb of the unknown soldier? President Trump laying a wreath. Actor, comedian, RFK Jr. supporter Rob Schneider is a man who's thought deeply about the issues and paid the price for speaking out. Charlie Kirk posting this 26 minutes ago. You have to love our country more than you hate Donald Trump. Vote America, vote for Trump. Full interview with Rob Schneider later today. Libs of TikTok 3 hours ago. Kamala just changed her position on a border wall and stole another policy from Trump. Laura Loomer posting this official message from the Trump campaign. President Trump's campaign just released a statement calling out Kamala Harris for her sudden border wall flip-flopping. Biden-Harris stopped further construction of Donald Trump's border wall on day one of their administration. Now they're gaslighting all of you after they allowed 20 million illegals into our country. Let's see here. Trump campaign statement. The Trump campaign released the following statement in response to a new Axios report. How much longer will the mainstream media allow Kamala Harris to hide and use staff to speak on her behalf? It's day 37 of his 0 interviews, and Kamala's anonymous campaign sources are now claiming she supports President Trump's border wall. This is a preposterous and false claim. Kamala's record proves she is pro-open border. She called the wall un-American, waste of taxpayer money, medieval, and said it wasn't going to stop illegal immigration. As a senator, Kamala tried to block President Trump's construction of the border wall. As border czar, Kamala Harris halted construction of the border wall. Halted construction of the border wall. Kamala's actions speak much louder than the words of the anonymous staff she is cowering behind. Caroline Leavitt, National Press Secretary. Oh, the flip-flopping. The gaslighting. Chinese hackers an hour ago breaching U.S. internet providers. A group known as Volt Typhoon exploited a hidden bug in VersaDirector software to infiltrate U.S. internet providers. Lovely. Hodge twins posting the statement that was posted to Axios. Kamala Harris pledged to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the wall along the southern border. Over 200 former Bush, McCain, Romney staffers endorse Harris. The alternative is simply untenable. It's because they're rhinos? Or they were never Republicans to begin with? So, just that Bush, McCain, and Romney staffers? Give me a break. Their endorsement means nothing. First of all, they're staffers. Second of all, who they worked for. Juanita Broderick, homeowner, do you realize that Harris' plan to tax unrecognized capital gains means if your house goes up in value, you have to pay that tax even if you don't sell your house. That's another thing she's working on. Kamala. Is this really a picture? Is this really a picture of Zuckerberg with a beard now? Come on. Is this AI? He's trying to, maybe he's got some testosterone suddenly. Here he looks like Data from Star Trek. And here he looks like, I don't know what he looks like. A Boeing 757 tire exploding during maintenance in Atlanta. 2 employees from Delta have sadly lost their lives. Did anyone realize today is the 30th year anniversary of JFK Jr.'s writing of his letter to Joe Biden? I'm not sure if I heard of this letter. You are a traitor, bearing the signature of John F. Kennedy Jr. Not wrong. True the Vote posting 42 minutes ago, Dominion is allegedly using Huawei as their cloud provider. If this is the case, it's worth noting the federal government has banned the use of working with Huawei, and a minimum state should be demanding answers and full cloud access. What is that? A beef curtain? Yeah, I said it. They got me to say it out loud. Kamala surrogate J.B. Pritzker. President Trump sits around all day while Kamala answers questions. What? President Trump made multiple stops yesterday in multiple states, including commemorating 13 heroes that died in Kamala's disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. Kamala made made no show.
Kamala Harris needs to do more.
This is my governor, and I'm ashamed to say it.
You know, this is a guy, Donald Trump, who sits around all day watching Fox News and doesn't actually do much. He hasn't done many of these events.
This guy sits out in front of the buffet waiting for it to open.
these major addresses over the course of his campaign. And it's only now that it appears that he's either even or behind that he now is complaining he's got to go out and do some work. And he's basically saying Kamala Harris needs to do more. The truth is that she's answered questions along the way. You've seen her do that when she's getting on and off of Air Force Two or helicopter or moving from one place to another.
Okay. All right, I think we're going to wrap this up now, folks. So a couple quick reminders before we go. Make sure that you go and find that interview. Texas drops digital bomb on Silicon Valley, the shocking truth they don't want you to know. Make sure you watch that. Make sure you share that. Set your clocks, because in 3 days, Google has to answer to Texas, or else Texas is firing off the subpoenas. It could mean life or death for this channel that you rely on. So there you have it, folks. Another night or day of truth-telling in a world that seems increasingly allergic to facts. We've covered a lot of ground, from the specter of new lockdowns to the shifting sands of American politics, from the assault on free speech to the madness of California's housing policies. But here's what I want you to take away from all this. The world is changing fast, and not always for the better, but you watching right now, you have the power to make a difference. Your voice matters, your vote matters, and your actions matter. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let them silence you. Don't let them make you doubt what you know to be true. Because at the end of the day, this is not just about politics or policies. It's about the future of our nation, the future of our children, and the future of freedom itself. So stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay free, because if we don't fight for our liberties, who will? This is Gary Franchi. You've been watching the Raw Feed. Have a wonderful day, and God bless America.